mattered. That was a very, very long time ago. And I thought at the time, that's, maybe in 10 years. Well, here it is 11 years later, and we actually are kind of seeing that. Believe it or not, we actually are kind of seeing the death of network/cable TV through the usage of streaming video. Now, there are some caveats to that, and I want to go over how we can get away from the cable network system, right? Because we're all sick of having to sit down at a scheduled time to watch something. And to the cable company credit, they do actually help you with that, where you have DVRs and such. But DVRs are, again, an extra fee. I don't want to pay extra to get something which I should really already have access to, especially in the age of the internet, where we can do pretty much anything we want. And we can pretty much watch anything we want. And I also want to get into the idea of popularity and how that would work in the 21st century internet streaming video. How would anyone know about anything, and how would anyone know what to watch? It would actually be a lot easier. So we're going to get into that too. And by the way, I got to mention, if you were just listening, then you were hearing the David Tulis show. He's on from 9 to 11 here on Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240, and hotnewstalkradio.com. Really great interview about Indian motorcycles. I'm really glad that the Indian brand is back in business. Has been for a little while now, actually. After several on and off, jump starts, I'm really glad that Indian Motorcycle is now back in the game. Really excited about that. You can watch the interview live. Well, not live. You can watch the recorded interview. If you go to YouTube and search for Hot News Talk Radio, you can see the David Tulis show. Near the end of his show, he interviewed a gentleman from Indian Motorcycle, who's actually an ambassador for Indian Motorcycle. Indian has established its own country and now requires ambassadors. So you can check out that recorded show on YouTube and definitely watch that interview. Very interesting stuff. I was really happy that Indian is back. Now I'm probably going to have chains thrown through my window by angry loyalists to the Harley cause, but you know what? That's okay, because I've never been a big Harley kind of guy. Honestly, if I really want to get my lights punched out, I could talk about how I was looking at buying a Kawasaki not so long ago. But I really don't want to die today, so we won't talk about that. But I'm really glad that Indian is back. I'm of the opinion that you should be able to buy whatever you want, and that kind of plays into what we're talking about here. I'm really of the opinion, of the idea, that people should be able to get access to mostly anything they want, so long as it doesn't harm other people, obviously. Mostly, for the most part, there are some moral imperatives here. But mostly, I'm of the opinion that people should be able to just get whatever they want, for the most part. And that should apply to entertainment as well. And fortunately, right, it's the 21st century. It's 2016, bro. So we can get pretty much anything we want. We can get nearly anything we want in form of entertainment through the use of the internet. There's no more waiting, no more DVR, no more of that. Oh, is it on yet? Don't worry about that, because I was thinking about that yesterday when I was watching the X-Files, and I was late. I was late to see it. I was about 15 minutes late because I have karate class every Monday. Now you can track my movements. I have a karate class every Monday. It's Shinsei Hapkido, which is a variation of Shotokan karate, so we'll call it a karate class. We also learned Shinsei Hapkido, and I'm working on getting my blue belt. Pretty excited about that. So I went to my karate class, and it went a little bit over 8 o'clock, which is when the X-Files was on Fox. And no, I'm not being paid by Fox. If I were, I'd be making way more money than I am now. But the X-Files was on, and I missed the first 15 minutes of it, so I had no idea what the heck was going on. I'm really excited that the X-Files is back on TV. I'm a huge fan. And it's a decent series, by the way. I was really very, very impressed with how good the new one was. So if you haven't seen it, you can actually watch it this way that I want to talk about. Most television networks, ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox, you name it, all the 3-letter stations have streaming services. They'll have a website where you can watch stuff. ABC is notoriously actually kind of okay at that because ABC is owned by Disney. And Disney is on top of the game when it comes to streaming services. Right now, you can go to like Walmart and buy this big package. It's like a large sort of document envelope with really nice packaging. That's a pre-order to get Star Wars The Force Awakens, and it has 3 posters in it, and you get a code for Vudu, which is Disney's streaming service. I think it's exclusively Disney. I'm not sure, but it's a Disney streaming service either way. And so that's the future really of entertainment. It's not going out and buying a DVD or a Blu-ray. It's getting it streaming straight to whatever device you might be on. Because the guys are the competitors, the companies that are in charge of putting out this content realize that most of us now are watching this content on our smartphones and on our tablets and sometimes on our laptops on the train or the bus or on our long vacation or whatever. So we need to get in on that game. If you don't have a smartphone, you don't have a tablet, you don't even have a laptop, you're missing out hugely. The future of entertainment is you're essentially you're missing out on entertainment now. You're missing out on all that can be had. Because think about the Netflix exclusives too. And it's not just Netflix. Amazon has some pretty good ones too. Man in the High Tower, or is it High Castle or High Tower? I always mess that up. But that series where the Nazis and the Japanese, the Axis won World War II and took over North America. Really interesting series based on a Philip K. Dick book, and I love Philip K. Dick. I'm sure you can edit that to sound really funny, but I really do love Philip K. Dick. He's a wonderful author. Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep is one of my favorite short stories. But anyway, so the future of entertainment is mostly online. If you don't have the smartphone, you don't have the tablet, you're really missing out. There's a lot that's there that you're not getting access to, and it's not really being played on TV. Now, granted, Orange is the New Black is a Netflix series, which is, I mean, it might not be your thing. I thought it was okay. But it was streaming on, I believe, Showtime. They showed it on Showtime, which is, again, one of those paid channels like HBO. So it does have a little bit of crossover, but not too much. The whole buying a cable package and getting all your channels thing is not going to last very much longer if the trends continue. Now, you might think that, well, the cable companies are getting stronger, but as soon as sitting down and watching TV becomes, not marketable, they're going to jump over to the mobile streaming market because that's the thing, right? That's what we all want. So what can we do to get entertainment? I know I've talked way too much about the whole market thing. That we've gotten way too technical. That's okay. We'll talk about how we can watch it because we can theorize and we can hypothesize about markets all day. But what about practical applications, right? It's like the guys who say, well, the stock market's going to crash tomorrow. And you say, well, okay, but what does that mean for me? What can I do to be prepared? Well, if you want to know, you can actually listen to the Patriot Prepper Show every Thursday at 11 here on Hot News Talk Radio. If you really want to know what you can do to be better prepared should an event like that happen, the Patriot Prepper Show can teach you practical things you can do. And you should go to P5 Preparedness to get all of your prepper supplies, all of your preparedness supplies, because it's not just about the guns and the canned food. There's a lot else you can do. You can learn, say, radio communications. You can learn bandaging. You can learn how to make different things, right? You need power. You need electricity. All these sorts of different things. And I don't want to talk too much about it because I don't want to take away from the Patriot Prepper Show. So you should definitely listen to that every Thursday here on Hot News Talk Radio. I got a bit of a hang in my throat today, by the way, because the weather is killing me, by the way. The temperature right now is a mere 46 degrees here in Hickson, and we are covered in rain. It's supposed to rain pretty much all day today. So if you're out there and you're maybe work a job outside, I'm sorry. It's going to be raining for a while here. If you're listening to your waterproof radio, thank you. I'm glad. I'm happy to be here with you in the rain, but it sure is a bad day, isn't it? But maybe it's not, because we do need the rain. And I happen to really like rainy weather because it reminds me of Blade Runner, my favorite movie. So I'm down with that. I'm cool with the whole rain thing. It is supposed to rain pretty much all day today, in case you didn't know. We're supposed to get quite a few inches of rain, actually. It's supposed to rain all day today. Temperatures are going to be dipping down to freezing by about, let me get it here, 6 a.m. Wednesday, really late into the game. But it shouldn't be too bad for us. But if there are icy conditions, I'll actually be here in the studio by that time to tell you about it. So you can listen to Hot News Talk Radio and America and Chattanooga's Morning News here on Hot News Talk Radio from 6 to 9. We'll keep you informed about our local conditions here. Mike Wood will give you the traffic. I'll give you the weather and the rest of the news right here. Hot News Talk Radio from 6 to 9 every weekday. Hot News Talk Radio AM 1240 and hotnewstalkradio.com. But anyway, how can we get in on the streaming game, right? We keep hearing about it. Maybe you see the ads for Netflix even when you're browsing online or when you're watching TV. And you think, Netflix, okay, it's just a fad. It's going to pass. Kids aren't going to, the kids will like it. I won't have any use for it. I mean, come on. It's not my thing. Well, you would be surprised, actually, because while I do hear some complaints sometimes about the selection on Netflix, it changes all the time. And I guarantee you, because of all the content that's on there, you'll find something to watch. For instance, we hear all the time, if you read, articles about top 10 documentaries, you'll see Geo Dreams of Sushi. That's a hard one to say. Geo Dreams of Sushi. And you can't watch that on TV. You can't just sit down and watch it on TV. So how are you going to watch it? You can either buy the DVD or the Blu-ray, or you can just watch it anytime you want on Netflix. It's right there. Same goes for Hulu. You want to watch Family Guy whenever you want. Hey, you can do it right there on Hulu. Or maybe you want to watch The Simpsons. Hey, do you have an FX account? You can watch it right there. All the seasons of The Simpsons, every single episode up to the present day, you can watch on that streaming site. It's really actually kind of amazing. It's really, really nice. I cannot put into words how cool it is that you can just watch every single episode of The Simpsons. Now, granted, you could take the less than legal method and find them in quotes online, sure. But we're talking about the legal way, or not even like the legal way. We're talking about the official way to get this content, because there are other ways to get this content that we can't get into, obviously, because I don't want to get sued. But there are those ways to get this content. But we're talking about the official, legal, sanctioned way to get this particular content. Although I'm sure we all have some experience with getting it in other ways, especially music. And we're going to be talking about music the second half today. But TV and movies, how can we get this stuff? Well, Netflix, of course, is the main choice. Everyone seems to use Netflix. Everyone seems to really like Netflix. And I really can't blame them, because I'm watching BoJack Horseman, the animated series. It's really funny. It's actually really funny. It's hard to find a really funny TV show. If you're sick of like all the TV cartoons that aren't really that funny, honestly, I thought BoJack Horseman was kind of funny. The commentary on the present society is actually pretty good. It's very raunchy, but hey, if you're into that, I think it's really good. So if you have the chance, check out BoJack Horseman after the kids go to bed, lest they be fooled into thinking that it's a kid show, because it definitely is not. ABC also has a streaming app. And by the way, most of these things also have websites. ABC, you can watch it on the website for free, which is also cool. How do they make money off of that? Well, with ads. You do have to watch some ads when you watch them on the website, but you would have to do that with TV anyway. So big deal, right? So you can get the Netflix app and you can watch all your stuff that way. HBO, actually, believe it or not, has a streaming service. And with Amazon Prime, I'm pretty sure it's still this way. Amazon Prime actually has The Sopranos streaming live. I'm so used to saying streaming live because of radio. Amazon actually has the Sopranos streaming, and you can watch it that way. And it's actually so nice, because I've been wanting to catch up on The Sopranos for forever. So now you can watch it on HBO or Amazon Prime. If you already have an Amazon Prime subscription, you can just watch it right there for free. All you have to do is search for Amazon Prime Video on Google, or get the Amazon Prime Video app on your Android or iPhone. And you can actually just watch it that way. It's super simple, super easy. Couldn't be better. And now you're watching Amazon Prime Video. Something else to keep in mind, by the way, is Amazon, whether or not you have Prime, has video renting services. So you can actually rent a season of a show, or you can rent a movie to watch, or you can buy it for online streaming too. Amazon also has that for music. But again, we're going to get into music a little bit later. But movies and TV shows, Amazon actually will let you rent or buy these movies or TV shows at a certain fee, and you can watch them for a certain amount of days. Or if you buy them, you can watch them streaming as many times as you want, which is really, really cool. Again, you can watch it anywhere you want. You can watch it anytime you want. You don't have to worry about commercials, which actually makes you sort of more engaged in the viewing experience. Nowadays, it seems like they show so many commercials, it's just nuts. And with radio, I think, honestly, I'm spoiled with radio, because there's so few commercials in radio a lot of the time. Like here on Binary, how many commercials are there? There's like a few in the middle of the show, right? And I don't want to get too technical into the process of radio and TV, but it seems like when you watch TV, it's like a commercial every 5 minutes, and it makes you really annoyed. Because I was, again, watching the X-Files last night, and I was like, come on, man, get back to the story. There's like 20 minutes of content they pack into an hour. It's ridiculous. So when you actually watch it on streaming services, you're like, this movie or this TV show is only 40 minutes. So they actually put 20 minutes of commercials in there. How the heck do they manage it? It's ridiculous. So you can get Hulu streaming to your phone. You can get Amazon Prime streaming to your phone. You can get Amazon Video, not Prime Video, but video streaming to your phone, even if you don't have a Prime subscription. And you should definitely get a Prime subscription, by the way, if you don't have one, if you can afford it. I'm not telling you to buy something you can't afford. But if you can afford the $100 a year, I think it's about $100 a year for Amazon Prime, it's definitely, totally, absolutely worth it. There's so many different things that Amazon Prime offers that are just kind of the coolest thing, because you can get next day shipping, no extra fee. You can get, again, the Prime streaming video. You can get a lot of music actually with Prime Music for free, basically. And you can get all sorts of just little benefits that Prime has. And it just makes your shopping experience that much easier. Now, I will say that you should definitely absolutely support your local businesses, because while Amazon is really great, and I have nothing against Amazon as in principle or as a service, you should support your local businesses, because that's what keeps the economy alive, is local businesses, local people, your neighbor, right? If there's something on Amazon, and maybe it's $1 cheaper, but if there's something on Amazon that you could buy at, say, Harvest Grocery, or you could buy it at the local store that your friend owns, then do that instead. Buy it at the local store instead of online. Even if maybe you're losing $1, that $1 is now going into the local economy, and it's helping a local farmer or a local businessman put some money on his table. He eats cash. Helps him put some food on his table, maybe the kid's college fund, or maybe just the car payment or the mortgage or whatever else, because we all have expenses, right? And so why wouldn't we give that to the local business person? We should be giving back to our community. And one of the better ways you can actually give back to the community, which is such a buzz phrase, is actually buying local. As David Tulis of the David Tulis show says, love your neighbor, buy local, which for him is amazing because it's actually grammatically incorrect. It should be buy locally. But even he admits that. 9 to 11 a.m., by the way, is the David Tulis show here on Hot News Talk Radio. After him is me from 11 to 12, Binary, our show. We talk about technology and live local tech. We talk about smartphones, tablets, computers, everything else. The number to call in, 423-800-8949. That's 423-800-8949. After me, we have Colin Cowherd, one of the best sports shows ever. He's the Rush Limbaugh of sports. After him, from 3 to 6, we have Sean Hannity. Then from 6 to 7 is Clutch with Keon Rose. He's live. He's local. He talks about sports. He's our local sports guy from 6 to 7, Clutch with Keon Rose. And from 7 to 9 is Mike Gallagher. We have Ground Zero, Coast to Coast AM with George Noory. All that great programming right here on Hot News Talk Radio. I want to talk about the TuneIn Radio app for a second here, because the Super Bowl is coming up. We are the exclusive home of the NFL and NASCAR. Here in our area, right in the Chattanooga area. You can only listen to NASCAR here on Hot News Talk Radio. So if you're a NASCAR guy, hey, guess what? You got to listen to Hot News Talk Radio if you want to hear it on the radio, which most people actually do listen to the radio for NASCAR. So great. If you're here for that, cool. You got to wait till Sunday. You're like 2 days late or early, but hey, so you can listen to NASCAR here on Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240 and hotnewstalkradio.com, and on the TuneIn Radio app. And that's what I want to talk about. With TuneIn, there's a TuneIn thing called TuneIn Premium, or TuneIn, like it's a subscription thing. And while that's cool, and I'm happy for TuneIn that they have that, I just want to interrupt for a second. Let me finish. I'll let you finish in a minute. With the Hot News Talk Radio TuneIn channel, you can actually listen to the NFL and the Super Bowl and NASCAR without having to pay any extra fees. No extra fees, no subscription. Go to TuneIn, search for Hot News Talk Radio. You can listen to the NFL. You can listen to NASCAR. You can listen to the Sprint Cup Series. You can listen to the Super Bowl. It's all right there on Hot News Talk Radio on the TuneIn Radio app. You don't have to pay a dime. Right here, Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240.
I'm blowing everything up. We're starting over. I'm doing a new show. I want guys who push it to the middle of the table and go over the top. Take a risk, fail miserably. I'm right, and I'm not wrong, and I'll never back down. Conflict works. Allow it.
It's The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Right here and everywhere. Noon Eastern.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
While politicians debate climate change and taking our guns, they leave America vulnerable to disaster. You need to act now to keep your family safe and prepared. Do you have an emergency plan? Do you have long-term storage food? Do you have the skills and mindset to survive a disaster? If not, what are you waiting for? Call P5 Preparedness right now, 423-602-2175. Do you honestly think the government is going to help you? If you do, you are wrong, dead wrong. Don't get caught unprepared. Let the experts at P5 Preparedness get you ready for any emergency or disaster situation. Today, we offer a wide range of classes for the beginner on how to prepare, as well as the expert prepper. We stock a wide range of supplies, including long-term storage food, water filtration, outdoor gear, tactical gear, and plate carriers. P5 Preparedness, East Brainerd Road between I-75 and Gun Barrel Road. You will see the Army Deuce and a Half truck, 423-602-2175, 1309 Panorama Drive, Chattanooga. P5preparedness.com.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio with your Hot News Now update. District Attorney Neil Pinkston has sent subpoenas to Superintendent Rick Smith, Assistant Superintendent Lee McDade, and the Ottawa High School Principal Jim Jarvis for the February the 15th Ottawa High School rape preliminary hearing. The three county school officials have been called as witnesses in juvenile court before Judge Filia. That's expected to happen on February the 15th. 2 shot, 1 dead on Sheridan Street. Police responded and found one victim who was shot to the leg, another one who was shot to the chest. He succumbed to his injuries. Violent crimes investigators are following all actionable leads. The CPD is still trying to find a suspect. Convicted felon and well-known gang member Desmond Gearing has been arrested after police received a noise complaint, went to his home, got permission to search it, and found a handgun and pistol ammunition, according to police, inside of his couch. He was booked into the Hamilton County Jail on Saturday. He was released on $10,000 bond. If it's going on in the Tennessee Valley, it's going on Hot News Talk Radio.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Staying quite wet out there through the afternoon with more areas of rain moving through. Temperatures will actually fall a few degrees. Tonight, showers will head off to the south and east, lows lower 30s. For Wednesday, after morning clouds, some afternoon sun returns, highs mid-40s, with more sunshine, upper 40s to near 50 Thursday. Visit CC's Pizza for the $4.99 unlimited lunch buffet. All the pizza, salad, pasta, and desserts you love, just $4.99. CC's, better believe it, offer ends soon. And I'm Storm Team 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Hoare.
On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
When the weather turns bad, turn to AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. On the net, hotnewstalkradio.com. Follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. From the Hot News Talk Radio Weather Center. Chattanooga, we've got you covered. When the weather turns bad, the Tennessee Valley turns to Hot News Talk Radio.
Go, 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 go.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Good wet afternoon. This is AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. I am Russell. I'm Russell, the news director here at Hot News Talk Radio. This is Binary here on Hot News Talk Radio. When you do like 3 shows, you forget which one you're doing, and then you forget where you are, and you forget where your name is too. Don't you hate that? You're trying to introduce yourself, and you forget what your dang name is. And you say, "Hi, my name is." Hi, my name is. One time, not a joke. One time, I introduced myself as Hot News Talk Radio because I, for some reason, just have that nailed into my head. And gosh, I was like, "Hi, my name is Hot News Talk Radio." Wait a minute. That's happened more than once, by the way. I guess because my life is radio and it's just all I know. So I think that I actually am radio. I am become radio, destroyer of ears. This is AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio, though. My name is not Hot News Talk Radio. It's Russell Stroud, and that is not your name. This is Russell Stroud here on Hot News Talk Radio. We're talking about cord cutting, talking about how you can be a cord cutter, talking about what apps are the best for cord cutting, because cord cutting is like a whole spectrum of apps. And I want to simplify it because you can't just get the one and say, I'm a cord cutter. You can do that, but there's a lot you're missing out on. That's kind of the problem with the whole cord cutting thing. And I should explain what cord cutting is, right? You just throw around phrases and you don't know what it is. It's like saying, hey, are you a anarcho-capitalist? And you have no idea what those two phrases mean. It's you got to explain them. Well, with cord cutting, it's not literal cord cutting, but it's not like you've given birth to something and now you're cutting the umbilical cord. No, it's the idea of cable, because cables are cords. We'll make that comparison there. Cables actually sometimes are cords, although cords are not always cables. There's a long thing about that. But when you're cord cutting, you're getting rid of your cable subscription and keeping your internet subscription. So you've got internet service, but you don't have cable. And that's what a lot of people, millennials especially, are doing. People who are 18 to 35, a lot of people that age are doing that. And even if you're older, you don't have to be excluded from that group. You don't have to be like, well, I'm too old for that. I'm set in my ways. My heart has been hardened and I shall never let you leave Egypt. No, it's not like that. You don't have to be that guy, because it's actually not that hard to cord cut, especially if, say, all you watch on TV, and this is true of a lot of people, if all you watch on TV is, say, the local news. I mean, a lot of people do that, and that's totally cool. But you should also listen to Hot News Talk Radio's news, which is on in the mornings from 6 to 9. It ends at 9. From 6 to 9, America's Morning News and Chattanooga's Morning News here on Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240, and hotnewstalkradio.com, and on the TuneIn radio app. So if in the morning you're wondering what the heck's going on in Chattanooga, listen from 6 to 9 and we'll tell you. Now, a lot of people will just keep their cable subscription to watch the local news. And actually, there are remedies for that. You can get a digital converter box for your TV. It's like the old rabbit ears, remember? You can hook this up to your TV, and you'll actually be able to watch over-the-air television just like in the old days without cable. And you can watch, down here we get all of the 3-letter stations. So you get, I call them 3-letter stations. I'm talking about ABC, CBS, NBC, and Fox. Probably missing some. Oddly enough, I pick up TBN, which is like this weird, it's Trinity Broadcasting Network. It's this Christian broadcasting station, and it's got some interesting kid shows, to say the least. Because I grew up with VeggieTales and all that, so I'm used to it. But it's a weird experience watching that, man. It's a trip. But anyway, it's a trip, man, watching TVN. But you can get all those stations if you get a digital converter box, and then you don't have to have the cable subscription if you're just watching the local news, because you can pick up, channel 9, 12, 3. You can get all those stations, 61 too, Fox 61. If you watch that, you can get all of them right there on your cable subscription, without a cable subscription, on your converter box. And a lot of TVs actually will have digital tuners built in, so all you need to do is screw in an antenna. You can call up your service provider, or not your service provider, pardon. You can call up your TV manufacturer and ask them, or look it up online and find out, or look in the manual if you kept that. Who keeps manuals these days? If you do, props, man. I'm very impressed, because I never keep the manual for anything. I should, but I just instinctively just throw away manuals. I should not do that, but I do. So if you keep your manual, good for you. I always like to read them, and then I just toss them without thinking about it. I don't know why I do that. I should quit, but there are a lot of things I shouldn't do that I should quit, and I guess that's one of them. Add it to the list, my good man. But anyway, I say that way too much too, but anyway, you can actually get your over-the-air stations through your digital converter box, and then you don't have to worry about the cable subscription if all you do is watch the local news, and you're paying $30 a month just to watch the local news, which maybe is a good deal, but probably not, because now you're paying for a bunch of stations that you never watch. And that's the thing with cable subscriptions, is now I'm paying for ESPN 14, which carries League of Legends, which I never watch because I play Counter-Strike, not League of Legends. And when I do play a top-down strategy game, guess what? I'm playing either Age of Empire or I'm playing Heroes of the Storm, not League of Legends, because that's a game for 12-year-olds. But anyway, I could talk about that all day. That's a whole nother show. But yeah, I mean, who watches ESPN 14 or 12 or whatever? All these different channels. I'm not going to watch them. Like, who watches the Spice Channel, dude, or the Cooking Channel when I've got Food Network? And then they say, oh, why aren't you watching, there's Travel Channel, right? So you can watch 14 episodes in a row of Mysteries in the Museum, which are basically just cracked articles put into 30-minute programs. Why would I do that? And I'm not knocking specifically these channels for having this programming. I get how it works in cable. I've worked in broadcasting long enough to know how it works. It's just, it seems to me to be kind of impractical and kind of silly in the long run. And I'm not knocking them. I'm not saying that having a cable subscription is necessarily bad. It's just that I like alternatives, and I like to be different, I guess. And I see no reason whatsoever to have a cable subscription for the most part. So if you have a cable subscription and all you do with it is you watch local channels, you don't actually need a cable subscription. And plus, there's channels like Antenna TV and This TV, which are actually really good on TV. that you can watch with your over-the-air channel that you can't get with cable. So there's actually benefits to not having cable, believe it or not. Now you can have a happy middle and have both, and you could totally do that. But we're talking about cord cutting, so we won't get into that too much. So what would you do if you were cord cutting? You would get rid of your cable subscription, and you would get a bunch of different apps and subscribe to a few services so you could watch then all of your content that you want anytime you want. And I think the timing factor is the biggest one for me, because I really care about timing. I care about doing something whenever I want to. My job here on radio is very time oriented. It's very time specific. Like when I do the news, I have to go on at a very specific time. When I come on, say, binary, I can't be a minute late, because then there's a minute of silence and you're wondering what the heck's going on. I can't be late, and I can't be early either, because then I'm talking over commercials or promos or station IDs or whatever. I can't do that. So timing is very important. But when I get off the job and I walk out of the office, I'm tweeting stuff, but when I walk out of the office, I don't want to worry about timing anymore. I want to just do what I want to do when I want to do it. And that especially comes to TV, especially if a show is on after I've gone to bed, because I have to get up early, as a lot of us do, which means I can't stay up late and watch TV as much as I might want to. So I need to watch my stuff when I want to watch it. And that's where streaming becomes so nice, especially if you're wanting to watch the X-Files and say you get up at 4 a.m, which a lot of us do. You can't just stay up until 9 and then, get 3 hours of sleep. It's not good for you anyway. So what do? Well, you can watch it streaming later. Fox actually will let you watch the X-Files streaming later the next day. So the episode which played last night is now on streaming right now, and you can watch it, and you just have to watch a few ads, and there you go. So you can watch all the shows you want streaming that way without having to pay anything extra, which is always really nice, because the whole idea of paying something extra goes against the idea of cord cutting. Now, cord cutting, you might end up actually paying the same amount as you were for cable, but the benefit is you're getting actually a lot more content, and you're getting it when you want it. Again, the whole timing factor. Like, say you have a $10 Hulu subscription and you have a $12 Netflix subscription. Well, now you're paying $22 plus some extra change in cash or in taxes, if you get that in your area. And now you're paying about the same as you were for cable, but you're getting a lot more content. And if you add on an Amazon Prime subscription, which is $100 a month, which granted has other added benefits, now you're paying a whole lot more than you were for cable. So maybe the cost factor might be the killer for you, and that's okay. But we're talking about the benefits of cord cutting. So say you have a Hulu subscription, now you can watch anything you want when you want it. Combine that with a Netflix subscription, you can watch anything you want on there when you want it. Combine that with YouTube, where there's a surprising amount of content on YouTube as well, where you can watch anything you want, anytime you want it. And honestly, some of the content on YouTube is better than some of the content on TV. Sometimes just some guy's videos are a lot funnier than that comedy series that's on right now. It's weird how that works out, but it tends to be the case. So cord cutting allows for a lot of freedom. Plus, you can always cut your subscription to anything whenever you want. It's not like with the cable companies where cutting your subscription is, well, a pain in the neck to say the least, because then they start asking you why. Like, especially if you're using that particular service that starts with com and ends with cast, it's hard to unsubscribe. They'll berate you sometimes if you want to unsubscribe. There are tapes to prove it, or audio files to prove it. I mean, it's messed up. Back in the AOL days, you tried to unsubscribe from AOL. Oh man, it's a nightmare. And really how the cable companies get you most of the time is through package deals, where you say, I want 500 megabit per second internet, but I also have to get a cable subscription and a package to pay for that. And most people just don't watch the cable a lot of the time. They get the fast internet and they just never watch the cable, so now they're paying for something that they aren't even using. They get locked into it. But that's kind of the problem, isn't it? That's the problem we're trying to escape. One of the things that unfortunately is probably not anytime soon going to be getting away from cable is major sports events like the Super Bowl, like the NFC playoffs, like NBA, like NHL, right? Like any of the major sports, soccer as well. Probably not going to be getting away from cable anytime soon. There are contracts that make it so that these particular services or sports are going to be on cable for a really long time. Like I'll be 50 something by the time they're off of cable. It's kind of ridiculous. So those aren't going anywhere. Fortunately, again, if you're wanting to listen to the Super Bowl on radio, you can do it here on Hot News Talk Radio. You can do it on TuneIn. If you're wanting to listen to the Sprint Cup Series in NASCAR, you can do it right here on radio. It's super easy. It's so efficient because now you can do anything else while you're listening. You know what's going on. You can get the local news breaks in between, and you get the character that comes with listening to Hot News Talk Radio, because we're not some big corporate mass that's got a bunch of people running around the office, and it's like a huge ordeal. We're not some giant corporation that's got to bother with hierarchy and all that sort of thing. No, honestly, we're a bunch of guys who do what we want. That tends to describe most of us as guys who do what we want. And we have that personality, and that really leaks through when you listen to the Hot News Talk Radio programming, because we mix and match, we throw it around, we do what we want. And that's the nice thing about it. So when you listen to Hot News Talk Radio, you're getting the personality of all of us here through the airwaves. And I really think that that's such a cool thing, that I can get myself out there in that way and talk to you in that way. It just seems to me so cool. So thank you for listening. If you are listening, I don't thank the listener enough, I think. And so I do thank you for listening to Binary here on Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240 and hotnewstalkradio.com. If you get the TuneIn radio app for your smartphone, you don't have to pay anything extra. There's no fee. There's no subscription. You just listen to Hot News Talk Radio on your TuneIn radio app. And now you can actually listen to us in your car with Bluetooth. You can hook up your phone via Bluetooth to your car radio if your car radio has Bluetooth. And now you're listening to us in your car like we're here in the studio with you. It sounds amazing. The sound quality is really great. And it's just a great listener experience on Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240 and hotnewstalkradio.com. Hey, this is just now coming out. Ford Ranger model years 04 to 06 are having a major recall. I'm trying to find what it's for, but 04 to 06 Ford Rangers, major recall going on there. So if you have a 2004 to 2006 Ford Ranger, you might want to go to your dealer and see what the heck's going on with your car, because it might not be too great. Weather right now, 46 degrees here in Hickson. We're seeing the temperature actually getting a little bit higher as the day goes by, although not much. About 48 is what we'll be seeing by about 12 p.m. It'll plateau there for a little while until 5, when it starts going down again quickly to freezing by 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. So if you're enjoying the warm weather, or warm comparatively weather that we're having now, you should enjoy it while it lasts, because it's only going to be a few more hours. Tomorrow, the high is 47, the low is 27. Today, we're expecting a lot of rain. We've just now gotten into the raininess today. It's supposed to last until tomorrow morning again. By about 11 p.m. is when it starts really tapering off. So expect quite a bit of rain today, and we'll keep you updated on the weather and with the local news here on Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240 and hotnewstalkradio.com as well. What about music streaming, though? Because a lot of people still, and maybe you do this too, buy CDs when they go to the store. And I'll grant you, I actually do sometimes buy CDs just for the nostalgia factor and just to have it sort of archivally. For me, it's mostly like an avatar. It's mostly like a totem. I have this music physically, and it's fun to look at the cover and, hold it in my hands and read the liner notes and that sort of thing. That's mostly why I buy music, is more symbolic than anything. I kind of collect it, I guess. But when it comes to practicality, when it comes to listening to music on the go or whatever, most of us will use streaming services or other such services where you buy your music online. Amazon, again, has a really great service for that. Amazon Music, you can listen to music streaming to your phone through the Amazon Music app. And once you buy a CD, even if you buy a CD on Amazon, the streaming version will go straight to your streaming library. So now you have that on your phone. So I've got a lot of Amazon Music on my phone that I didn't even know about. So that's really nice. I've got, actually, there's a little band called 8 Days that did a really fun album. And I've got the whole thing. It's like 20 tracks. It's a crazy amount of tracks. I've got the XX full album. I've got In the Airplane Over the Sea by Neutral Milk Hotel. I got the whole thing of that on Amazon. So there's lots of good stuff on there. You can get Beethoven if you want. You can get Led Zeppelin, I'm pretty sure, streaming on Amazon. You can get all sorts of just anything you want streaming on Amazon. Google Play Music has a similar service where actually Google Play Music has a radio type deal that rivals even Pandora and Spotify. The radio feature on Google Play Music is, of course, ad supported. You got to listen to ads to listen to the music. It's not very many ads per song, though, or per 5 songs. I think it's 1 ad every 5 songs, so not bad at all. And you can listen to pretty much anything ever. It just goes to the radio feature. You can put in whatever band you want to listen to. So say you want to listen to the Beatles, it's streaming on Google Play Music just as it is on iTunes. Say you want to listen to what else is there that people like to listen to? You listen to the Roots. You can listen to the Skids. You can listen to the Skins. You can listen to Leftover Crack. You can listen to the Clash. You can listen to the Crash, which is another band. You can listen to the Misfits, either the Danzig or the Michael Graves era, or heaven help you, the other guy era, which is not very good at all when he started getting into Project 1950. Ugh. But anyway, you can listen to all that. Streaming on Google Play Music. iTunes has that iTunes radio thing that also works pretty well. You can buy, of course, tons and tons of music on iTunes, competitively priced. So iTunes is one of probably, I would say, if not the biggest, then one of the biggest music streaming services ever. iTunes is what everyone used when I was younger. It's what everyone still uses now. If you have an iPod or you have an iPhone, you are almost undoubtedly using iTunes to listen to your music. The iPhones have the iPod feature where you just listen to your music, and it works. It's really nice, and you can buy pretty much anything you want streaming on iTunes. And of course, iTunes has Apple has a lot of corporate pull when it comes to getting labels to latch on to the service. And I could go on for hours about how much I don't like music labels, but we'll do that some other time, maybe. Probably not, though. Music labels are a cancer, to say the least. But anyway. So number to call in here is 423-800-8949. That's 423-800-8949 is the number to call in here at Hot News Talk Radio. And I should clarify, I don't mean all music labels. I mean the big ones like EMI and whatever. They're just, they are a pain. Number to call in is 423-800-8949 here at Hot News Talk Radio. The website is hotnewstalkradio.com, where you can listen to us streaming live there on the website, hotnewstalkradio.com. All you got to do is go to that website. Now you're listening to us streaming live. Go on YouTube, and you can see us on YouTube. Go to Hot News Talk Radio on YouTube, and you can actually watch us streaming live like it's TV. HotNewsTalkRadio.com is the website, so be sure to watch us streaming there as well. HotNewsTalkRadio.com is the website. Get the TuneIn Radio app for your smartphone, and then search for Hot News Talk Radio. You can listen to us streaming live on your smartphone, HotNewsTalkRadio.com, or rather Hot News Talk Radio on TuneIn, on the TuneIn Radio app, and on YouTube as well, and on the website. Coming up next after me, we have Colin Cowherd here on Hot News Talk Radio. He is the sports guy here on Hot News Talk Radio. He's one of the national shows, and I can actually listen to him, which is pretty impressive, because normally I have trouble, I guess, watching or listening to sports shows because they tend to get way too into the technical side of the sport, which I don't really have much interest in, honestly. I'm more into the human factor, because I'm bad at numbers, and I'm bad at remembering who's on what team, but I do remember names specifically. Like, I don't know who, say, LeBron plays for example. He plays for Miami Heat, but it's more interesting to me for the human factor. It's sort of like the gladiator thing, where you had the gladiators of old, now you have LeBron James and Kobe Bryant, both of whom are like retiring soon, which is kind of weird. But anyway, yeah, it's really interesting to me, the human factor. So if you want to get into that, Colin Cowherd is really good at that, and he has really great interviews too. He actually interviewed the guy who does all those documentaries on PBS. I can't remember his name now. The Ken Burns. The Ken Burns Effect is why I remembered. Yeah, he interviewed Ken Burns. That was really interesting. So 12 to 3 is Colin Cowherd. After him is Sean Hannity. He is the sort of the political loudmouth, right? He's really into politics. He talks about politics, very neocon. 3 to 6 is Sean Hannity. Then we have Clutch or Keelan Rose from 6 to 7 here at Hot News Talk Radio. Mike Gallagher is on from 7 to 9. Then we have American Now with Megan McCain, Ground Zero, and Coast to Coast AM with George Noory, which is the show that actually got me into radio. Coast to Coast AM with George Noory. If you're wanting to stay up to date on the weather on the go, the Weather Underground app is great for that. Weather Underground on your smartphone will keep you updated on local weather events. It'll actually alert you. It'll buzz your phone. It'll vibrate your phone and give you a little sound alert if there's a weather warning of any sort in your area, which is super handy if suddenly there's a flash flood warning and you forgot to weatherproof your basement. That's a problem. So it will give you a warning, to get the vacuum pump going in your basement so that you can deflood it, which is always a pain, but you got to do what you got to do. So get your weather alerts from the Weather Underground app on your smartphone, and that can actually save your butt sometimes, because we could all use it. A great app for news, by the way, the Feedly app I use Feedly all the time to get my local news, my national news, my international news, my extraterrestrial news. I get it all from the Feedly app on my smartphone. Some people like Flipboard better. I'm more of a Feedly kind of guy. I like the interface better. It doesn't use as much battery power because it's not as pretty as Feedly or as Flipboard is. I tend to really like the Feedly app on my smartphone, though. It tends to work out really well. If you're looking for new music, like we talked about music streaming with iTunes and with Google Play Music and with Amazon Prime. But another good app for indie bands is Bandcamp. You can search for pretty much any genre on the planet, be it jazz, be it funk, be it jazz funk, be it crossover of some sort, be it new age, be it new world, be it new world order music, be it world music. It could be shoegaze, it could be chiptune, it can be shoegaze chiptune, which is actually a thing. It can be noise, it can be whatever. Search for any genre you want on Bandcamp. There's all sorts of great stuff on Bandcamp, and they actually have an app that streams, so that's yet another way to listen to music that's a little bit more obscure than what you might normally get with, say, you're listening to Crosby, Stills, and Nash, right? Your mainstream stuff. I tend to really like Bandcamp. It's a really, really great app. It's a great website. Great bands on there, too. I've discovered more bands than I can count on Bandcamp. It seems like the Vaporwave bands are a dime a dozen, and 9/10 of them are actually really good. So Bandcamp is a great app for that. And it's a great website too. SoundCloud as well. You can find lots of music and lots of podcasts actually on SoundCloud. If you're into listening to podcasts on your smartphone, Podcast Addict is a really good app for that. I use it pretty often. In fact, I use it pretty much every day when I'm driving in. I'll use Podcast Addict to listen to my different financial reports and all that sort of thing, and audiobooks too. Audible, of course, from Amazon is a great audiobook service. You can listen to audiobooks on Audible. It seems like every new book under the sun, especially Tom Clancy books of old, are on Audible. This is AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. Colin Cowherd is coming up next here on Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240 and hotnewstalkradio.com.